Good morning. My name is Tasos Zachos. I am the editor-in-chief of Fortune in Greece, and I'm very glad to be back in Delphi Economic Forum. Today we are going to discuss about how we are going to create an investment destination for growth strategies. And I would like to say, as an introduction, that we have a lot of reasons to celebrate in the ecosystem, the Greek ecosystem of tech entrepreneurs, because the last years these startups managed to raise about 1 billion of funds, and this amount is double if we compare it to the past year, to 2020, and I think it's 6 times more than in 2015. Also, as we see the first months, JP Morgan bought a minority stake at Viva Wallet, a movement that value the company's valuation at 2 billion. So we have the first unicorn in Greece. But you know, we should do much more things in order to have a more mature ecosystem and to have a real growth strategy in Greece. I have the opportunity to discuss about this with very good speakers, experienced speakers in the investment fields. And I would like to welcome to Delphi Elias Korosis, Head of Growth Investing and Partner at Hermes. Hi, Elias.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Eva Ados, Partner, CEO and Chief Investment Strategist, ERShares. Hello, Eva.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
Stavros Siokos, Managing Partner and Co-Founder at Astarte.
Good morning.
And also Mr. Dimitris Skalkos, Secretary General of Public Investments. Mr. Skalkos, welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. I would like to give you some minutes at the start in order to introduce yourself and also speak about your investment activities. And after this, we are going to have a discussion. Elias, I would like to start with you.
Thank you, Tasso. So, Elias Korosis, I work in Hermes GPE, which is a global private markets investor. We're part of Federated Hermes, which is a 600-700 billion asset manager. We run several billions across private equity and infrastructure in Hermes GPE. And we're a multi-stage global private equity investor. I focus primarily on the growth capital side, run as a lead partner 2 innovation funds, one on environmental innovation and another one on software innovation. So I hope we can cover both segments in today's panel.
You are based in London?
Based in London, operating globally, offices in London, New York, and Singapore in terms of the private equity franchise.
Nice, Leah. Eva?
Hi, everyone. I'm the COO and Chief Investment Strategist at ERShares. We are based in Boston. We are a fund that invests in publicly traded entrepreneurial companies around the globe. And as a thematic strategy, we are very strong in IT and healthcare. So I'm very happy to speak about that today. We are also very strong in female entrepreneurs. So we are supporting women, and I'm happy to see proportionally many women here today. And we are also active in the pre-IPO space, trying to take companies public to the market with $1 billion in valuation. I'm also a commentator on Bloomberg, CNBC, and other major networks in the US. So I'm happy to share my views on the global economy with you today. Yes.
It's very important to empower women entrepreneurs. So thank you, Eva. Stavros?
Good morning. My name is Stavros Siokos. I'm the co-founder and managing partner of Astarte Capital Partners. Astarte is a global asset management firm. We are headquartered in London, but we have presence in Toronto, Sydney, Singapore, and Athens. The 2 co-founders were both Greek. 50% were women, so we have quite unique angle on all this. We focus on macroeconomic trends like aging population, need for food, need for water, need for paper, better environment, and we identify strategies that are backed by real assets that benefit from these mega trends. We started from 0, and we're now more than $1 billion AUM. We're supporting impact and sustainability across the world. We have touched the lives of the last 7 years of about 20 million people, and we have created about 5,000 jobs. We're running 8 strategies, and Greece is close to our heart. We have invested, we have started a lot of business here, and we're looking to invest further here. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Skalkos?
Thank you. I'm always happy to be in the Delphi Economic Forum. I'm in charge of the cohesion funds, and especially in the new program period 2021 to 2027, European structural funds are particularly focused on how to strengthen the ecosystem of small and medium-sized businesses. We are particularly focused on how to help Greece as a top investing destination, and we're particularly interested on digitalization of small and medium-sized businesses. We're particularly also interested in the circular economy, the greening of the whole economy, the clean energy, green investments, and we are particularly going to focus on green infrastructure, such as how to say it, green infrastructure on the broadband networks, on our greening of our islands, on the upgrade of the whole transport systems. So there is a lot of opportunities to grab, and I think in the coming years we can see many good things going on in the Greek economy.
So there is a sustainability agenda, as I understand. And Elias, you mentioned before about the environment sector. I would like to ask you, do you believe that the tech sector globally and also in Greece should focus more on ESG metrics, for example, how they can be more sustainable?
Look, ESG is a huge opportunity for Europe and for Greece in particular. So if we look at, when we talk about ESG, because you mentioned metrics, but I want to make it a bit broader. Fundamentally, we see it as a house, we see it as an investment opportunity. So there is, I mean, essentially there's two parts to ESG. There is the, I have a clean kitchen, and then there's the, what sort of food am I serving?
Yeah.
The clean kitchen part, I think, is a no-brainer, and it's become a prerequisite across all of private equity, and I think it's going to become a prerequisite for across the chain down to venture capital sooner or later. What do you do, i.e., are you actually tackling a problem with the product that the business is involved with? I think that's a huge opportunity. And in Europe, we have the background of having been seen in the world as a leader in terms of sustainability. And I think the challenge for Greece is to grab that as an opportunity, because we have a background, people at least can mentally think of, you know, sun and wind. So we had the panel with Kostis just before that went into the renewables. And I think that what I'm interested to address in this panel is the technology opportunity around that. So there is energy generation, that's only the upstream part, but there's the whole value chain of how do you measure, how do you manage the supply chain, how do you provide client-ready offerings downstream.
Yeah.
And all of that has technology across the value chain. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity for Europe to play globally, and for Greece to develop a brand name for ourselves with ESG technology, for example, at the core. We have the technological background in terms of at least the ability to deploy development resources and so on, and we can see it in the growth of our tech ecosystem. We've got the green energy, as was being discussed, as an opportunity, and I'm sure Stavros will cover the opportunity on real assets as well. And to me, it's also a matter of branding. You actually get this to be what people think of when they say, I'm going to go and invest in Greece. Why? That they think of a few things. And ESG, in my mind, or at least the ESG technology, should be one of those.
As a fund, you focus on these metrics, on this data?
We are almost a strategic, I would say, in terms of the ESG metrics. So Hermes as a whole, Federated Hermes, has a big ESG focus. Federated bought Hermes because of the ESG aspect. And we are obviously a consumer of this data when it comes to our own investment decisions. So I would say we're a quasi-strategic in the ESG metric space. But taking it back to where the opportunity is in Greece, I think finding these the sort of innovative technologies that can, it's a huge industry that's becoming right now. So it's almost, think of it like the financial accounting industry. The carbon accounting side is becoming a big industry now. So if we can provide the technology solutions for that, for example, starting with maritime. So there's an association I'm connected with that is run by a Greek lady called the Blue Ocean Alliance, that are looking into maritime tech opportunities. And it's not based in Greece, but my point is that Greece, with a global shipping background, could play a leading role in it.
It's true, and I would like to ask Stavros, because Elias mentioned you. You have something to say about the infrastructure we need to have more sustainable tech here, for example.
Yes. First of all, I would like to start saying that technology has many faces.
Of course.
And, for example, the most proven technology in the world for managing carbon is the trees. Okay? And trees are the most proven technology of capturing carbon and helping us as an environment. So there are many ways of how you define technology and how you define ESG. And technology needs to be supported by what we have available in front of us. And that's something we need to understand. And ESG, especially in Greece, around the world, but especially in Greece, is only seen as environmental friendly. E is environmental, S is for sustainability and social impact, and G is for governance. So all these are very important parts of how you include them and how you have them. And it has to become, like Hermes, like Astarte, part of the DNA of how you make the investments. So Greece has a unique opportunity and some other issues. The unique opportunity is we have technology, we have an amazing environment which supports energy transition, going into renewables, going to a lot of new ideas. We need smart infrastructure, digital infrastructure, adaptable infrastructure, which we have the ability of being at the front of what's happening in Europe. What we need to help a little bit, because the biggest problem of Greece, it's not economic for me. The biggest problem of Greece is legal. If it takes you forever to create something, then that's the problem. If you cannot exit, that's a problem.
Stavros, you have a great experience in Greek startups, which became scale-ups, for example, and you find many opportunities in the Greek market now. I would like to know if you have investment plans for Greece.
We're looking to, we're active in Greece already. We have been actually in the past. Myself and Teresa Farmaki, our co-founders of Astarte, we were at Piraeus. A lot of the things you see out in the market now, like Open Fund, we were the first guys to put money into it, like TaxiBit and all these things. And we helped the ecosystem at that time. The ecosystem from that time to now has grown quite a lot. We are also investors and shareholders at EOS Capital, which is a growth equity. And we're looking to expand further, much further, into the Greek ecosystem. There's a great opportunity here. There's a great talent. There's great will from the government and the society. The society is ready to move forward. It just needs to be educated for a lot of things and adapt to some misunderstandings. So we are looking to invest in Greece. That's why we're here. We believe this is the best time the environment in Greece had in my time as a professional. So I think over the last 25, 30 years, these years, it's a unique opportunity, and we must not lose it. We must not lose it.
I agree. Eva, Stavros mentioned we need the education. You work a lot with people. How we should invest on people in order to grow our economy,
So I would address this question in three dimensions. First, how do we work on the people we currently have? And Greece is famous for its double-digit unemployment, so we need to address that. And also, we need to address the lack of people experienced in STEM, sciences and technology, especially when it comes to women. We have very few women who are into STEM and technology and science. And so we need to train them in the right areas. Now, how do you bring the diaspora back? And the diaspora, I live in the US, and I can tell you, we have one of the most successful diasporas out there. It's unbelievable. Every single successful company has a Greek behind it. So Greeks have proven again and again that if they are provided the right infrastructure, the right setup, the right opportunities, they do shine. And so if we provide this to them here, we can bring them back. And now the third dimension is, how do we attract international people? And we can do that because if you look at Portugal and Spain, they are creating new programs to create to make sure they are perceived as startup nations. We have a strategic advantage as a beautiful country, which we are, and people already visit us for tourism. The most successful people, the wealthiest, the best people around the globe visit us for a beautiful country. What if they come here for conventions like this today, focused in technology, focused in startups, share ideas, meet with investors, meet with startups, create an ecosystem around new ideas, innovation? What if we invest in tech cities? Portugal is investing $700 million to build a tech city in Vila Nova de Gaia. And so why do we not invest to build a tech city, bring talent here who wants to enjoy this beautiful country and work from here? Especially now with inflation, people want to build startups in a place where the costs are not very high. We have this advantage too. So there are many areas we can focus on, and I think it all starts with the workforce. It all starts with founders, entrepreneurs, people. And if you have the people, great innovations will be created, capital will follow.
People is a very important factor for startups, but Dimitris, how the Greek government or Greece generally can help these people to invest in the country, with incentives, for example?
Thank you for this question. Actually, the previous speaker mentioned the legal obstacles that potential investors face when they are coming in the Greek economy. This is true. Although we are doing some progress on this, to leave behind the so-called red tape and go for, how to say it, a red carpet. But I think the most important issue here is the huge investment gap that Greece economy has. You all know the severe economic crisis more than a decade. This left us with a very huge investment gap. What we are trying to do is to increase the investability of the Greek regions. And the important issue here is that in the next few years, Greece economy will have at its disposal a huge amount of money, resources from the new cohesion policy funds, structural funds, European structural funds, also the national plan for from the RRF. This is very important, and some additional funding resources. In fact, we will have at the disposal more than 80 billion euros. And actually, this is a paradox, we will have more resources than we can possibly actually absorb. This is the main challenge for all of us, for the Greek government, and what we are trying to do is to increase the capabilities of the Greek administration to mature all these new projects. Public investing is very important because when we are having the public investing, then we can crowd in private investment, we can mobilize private resources. I think we are in a good path. As I mentioned before, our main focus is on the green economy and digital economy. This is the twin challenge all European countries face in order to live in a more prosperous societies. In the next few months, private investors will see the new calls for our new programs. So I think they can grab many opportunities and find some very welcome profit in the Greek economy.
Okay, we will wait the next 2 months. Elias, as you heard, we have in Greece, for example, the Equi Fund, but I think we need something more institutional. For example, an innovation fund of funds in order to have real growth.
So what I was going to say to Dimitris' position, I think it's an incredible opportunity. Stavros said, and I agree with him, that we haven't seen Greece being so ready for investment from an international perspective in 25 years, certainly the 25 years that I've been outside of Greece. And right now, it feels like we have the right environment, we have a supportive government for business, and we have, I think, a culture that's changing to what it used to be decades ago. But for me, that's the biggest thing. When we're talking about what's the biggest obstacle, it's changing the institutional culture so that essentially the opportunity that we have does not get squandered. And that is my fear. Actually, there's a lot of funds available right now. My biggest thing I would say to this is don't spend it, invest it. Invest it in a way that stays with the country forever. And there are examples in the world, and we work with some of the successful examples in the world where governments have built sovereign funds that are managed very well. We work with the Canadian pension schemes that are essentially sovereign funds. Endowment structures that can last forever, are very well regulated, are very well managed by hyper-professional people of the same caliber as any private equity fund that we work with. To me, this would be the opportunity to channel some of those funds into something that has a perpetual nature, invests, then lives off the success of its investments, but it is not diminished in like a fund in runoff, as we call it in private equity.
That the ecosystem should be more connected with the global ecosystem. Can you mention some of your initiatives?
That I think is that's a different opportunity. So when we're talking about this panel about how, when you're looking at Greece as an investment destination, and Greece is a small country on its own,
and
right?
a small market.
It's a small domestic market.
Yeah.
The opportunity is to grow global companies, the ones that would come from the VC ecosystem that we now have. We didn't have a VC ecosystem 15 years ago, to speak of.
10 years ago.
Even 10 years ago. I think we've had a great job we don't have anybody with a VC, let's say a VC fund on this panel, but we had one before. The VC ecosystem, I think, has done a very good job, and it has proven that it can take some companies like the ones that Stavros mentioned from zero to scale up. Now, the question about the scale up is what happens to the company when it reaches that stage? And if you have the right institutional setup to welcome further investment in the country, so that people don't say, okay, you've made it to, I don't know, a few million in revenue, now it's time to go to Boston or go to London, and you stay in Greece, I think that helps with the scale-up piece. And so, but to get to your original question, when you're looking at Greece then as a hotbed of globally oriented growth companies, I think it's good to be connected to a wider investment area. When I do this similar kind of consideration for the Nordics, so when I work a lot with the Finnish ecosystem. Finland is a very good example. It's a small country, 5 million people, but has built a technology-based growth capital, venture capital and growth capital ecosystem that's creating big companies. And it has partnered with the Swedish and the Baltic area, and they've created a Nordic investment basis. I think we have a similar opportunity in Greece to be closely connected with the, let's say, the Israeli ecosystem. There's an emerging ecosystem now in Egypt. We don't have Panagiotis here from Endeavor, but I know they've done a lot of work.
It's true.
In Cairo, and you create a bigger ecosystem that people look at it as a bigger market, and therefore you can make Greece a hub of a bigger story. So I would be very, as a global investor, I'd be very keen for Greece to become a hub of a bigger thing.
Nice. So, Eva, do you see Greece as a hub of innovation? How we connect Greece with global markets? And do you believe that we are going to have a Greek IPO?
Yes, we actually have. Vasilis Grigoriou is in the audience now.
Hi, Vasilis.
He went public. His company is called Advent Technologies in the energy area. Ticker listed on the Nasdaq ticker is ADN. We also had recently, I think a couple of weeks ago, a SPAC, special purpose acquisition company, taking public Novibet. And there are also rumors about Blueground, so I think we're on a very good track. But from a higher level, and by the way, the reason why I'm happy with these IPOs is that they are very diverse in nature. And because to me, the major issue we have as an economy, and in order to make Greece a more stable economy, is to diversify more. We lack diversity, and so we're very strong. In fact, we're actually the least, I think, diversified economy in the European Union, so that's really bad. We're very strong in shipping and tourism, and that's great, but when the next recession will come, which will come, and when the next pandemic will come, this high concentration in two sectors will mean that our economy will be too vulnerable. So how do we diversify? And I'll get more specific here. It's not just healthcare and IT, of course. Those are the fastest growing sectors around the world. They can be here too. But I'll go more specific. We now have two main driving forces in the global economy. We have inflation and we have the uncertain geopolitical situation. And with disruption, there are new innovations. With necessity, we create new startups. So there are two main areas that I'm looking at right now. One is, what if we build our cybersecurity and intelligence, cybersecurity and defense intelligence? And that's crucial because it's not only a necessity for Greece, given our spot in the global economy, but also it can be a great opportunity. We saw new wiper malware attack Ukraine. There were only a couple of solutions around the globe able to defend them. So this is a sector that's changing every day. There are new innovations in the area. We need new innovations. Greece can be a cybersecurity hub. Secondly, because of inflation, it's really important for companies now to automate their processes, to reduce their dependence on the labor markets, because that's a big cost. And so more and more companies, even retail companies in the US, are now looking for automation and artificial intelligence to automate their processes. We can be an AI hub in Greece. And so if we build a well-diversified, stable economy that produces great innovations, capital will follow, and then you create an ecosystem, and you are perceived in the world, by the way, that's also important, as a trusted economy. We still have one of the highest debt per capita. So people do not trust us. I myself invest in I track 60,000 companies around the world. I'm now looking to take one company public. And I'm looking at Greek startups too. So the resistance I face with my American colleagues is, why would we trust Greece? No, Greece has to be perceived as a trusted economy, and it is. And so we need to change the perception and capitalize on the great momentum we have and move Greece forward.
I think that the last 3 years the situation has changed about Greece a lot.
Exactly.
And I will take the example of cybersecurity in order, Stavros, to say that EOS, I think, has invested some money on Umbrella Securities.
Yes, we have. We have invested in Umbrella Securities, a great firm, and Archeothiki as well. So we're into that space. Before I go into Umbrella, I would like to add something to the discussion we had already. Capital follows places where there's tax stability. So we need the tax system to be stable for people to trust it. The only thing people care, do I have a nice legal framework and do I have a stable tax system? This needs to be stabilized no matter who is the government. The second thing we need to think if we want growth in this country, we need to connect universities with the industry. The fear of, oh my God, these capitalists will get our kids and all these things has to go away. Okay? Adventist, Patras, you go University of Patras, people are afraid to connect them. People are only interested in startups. They don't realize that the next startup will start from someone like Carriera or Umbrella or Advent. That's where the next talent will come from. And we need this to be empowered. And at this point, we're scared as a society to open the universities into
Stavros,
that.
I heard this for a lot of years. Why do you think this happens?
I'll tell you why it's happening. I think because, as a famous friend of mine told me, in Greece, we are all communists in mind, capitalists in pocket, and everyone believes he has rights and no one has obligations. That's what the problem is. The problem is that we're afraid to
This is generic, I'm afraid.
to face the issue that we need, if we want startups, we need to be open and we need to bring institutional capital in Greece. We depend on family offices investing on startups. This is wrong. We have pension funds. We want pension funds from abroad to come in. We have long-term capital, perpetual capital. You talk to pension funds in Greece, and what they say is, I want to invest on Greek stocks because that's safe. It's not safe. It's not safe. It's as safe as any other market. You need to be able to allow pension funds in Greece to invest on startups. Why not? It will be such a small part of their allocation, no one does it. So we need to change the framework as a government, which we have the opportunity now, to allow institutional local capital, institutional global capital to come directly into these investments. It should not be the family office trade that meets other capital. It's the wrong way. And we need to open up education at any cost. Education should be connected to productivity. And then you have talents like Umbrella Securities or Hiothiki or all these great companies, which they stand because one guy, basically, in all these opportunities, one guy took the risk. He had thousands of sleepless nights to become an overnight success. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty certain there were years of pain, and we happen to know years of pain, because everyone says, oh my God, this Advent is an overnight success. It's not. This pain, issues, government, fighting. We need to help this generation, and I think that's the key. I deviate a little bit, but...
Yeah, I think we need also a transfer technology vehicle because between universities and the markets. And Dimitris, do you like to comment on this, about the role of the Greek government?
Yes, thank you. Actually, I would like a specific comment and a more general one. A specific comment because I'm extremely happy to hear about venture capital and fund of funds and EquiFund. Actually, in the next programming period, we can contribute to the EquiFund more than 200 million euros from structural funds. This is something very important. We have the financial instruments to support startups and small and medium-sized enterprises and do something good to increase the available funding and the liquidity of the companies. One other thing I think is important is that these new financial instruments are going to be incorporated in what the now fully activated Hellenic Development Bank. During the last 2 years, during the pandemic crisis, Hellenic Development Bank mobilized more than 8 billion euros.
Yeah,
this is extremely important.
And when it started, it was, I think, just
200 million. So
it's a big
we
change.
went from 200 millions to 8 billions in just 2 years. The general argument I would like to say is that I heard about the importance of low taxes, the importance of bureaucracy, the importance of political stability. All these are important issues. Actually, are what we characterize as growth fundamentals. And this is something good that we are doing in these fundamentals. Nowadays, we have much less bureaucracy. Someone can create a private, personal enterprise in just 22 hours, not 24, 22 hours, as we speak. We have lower taxes. Even we have to support the whole economy during the pandemic. We have a stable political stability. We also have a dynamic economic recovery. Actually, the recovery was more dynamic than it was initially expected, probably because of the mobilization of public funds to support the small and medium-sized businesses. We have, as I said, the new financial instruments. So we have the new reforms that we didn't stop to do during the pandemic. So I think that if we can start to change the culture, and I think this is something you can see nowadays, I don't see why Greece cannot be a top investment destination in the coming years.
Do you have concerns that this instability, the inflation, for example, is going to affect the investment prospects of Greece now?
This is a European problem and not just a Greek one, but I think it's a very problematic situation.
Okay, so I would like a last comment because we have 5 minutes. Elias?
I was just going to say to Dimitris' point, I agree there is a lot of good work that is happening, but if you want to see whether it's working, don't depend on what your people are telling you, because they might be bringing you good examples and say, look, we managed to do this in 22 hours. Go to the source, which are the entrepreneurs. So I think getting the entrepreneurs to feed back to the government and say, this is working, this is what is not working, is probably the best way to hit at it. We as investors will follow what happens when a good entrepreneurial ecosystem is active. So we're actually not the beginning of this motion. It's the entrepreneurs that really matter. And when I speak to the entrepreneurs, I'm part of this Hellenic Innovation Network, which is connecting entrepreneurs around the world. I hear that they're still struggling with a lot of things, that there's a lot of nice things that are happening, but they're not working 100% yet. So I would go to them. I would really try to create a pipe to really listen to what's happening in the entrepreneurial community, and then that's going to feed into the VC world, and that's going to feed into the growth capital world.
So ask the entrepreneurs, as you say. Eva, your last comment?
My last comment would be, so for me, I think many of us know the issues that Greece has, and by the way, we have them for many years now. The issue is more on the policy side, and that we need more actions taken. So that's where I see a lack of, like taking the initiative to actually create changes, to support the ecosystem better. We could even create a database. I'm looking for companies now. It's really hard to find Greek companies unless you go word of mouth. And so what if we create a big database
have Elevate
for
Greece
international
now,
investors? Exactly. And then I can, I can find the company I want to invest in, and I know it has a Greek orientation. So that can also be another idea.
Nice. Stavros?
As I said, I think we're at a unique point. We have examples of success. We have a government that's willing. I also agree with Elias that as a government, it needs to think a little bit outside the box. It takes 22 hours to open a company, but you cannot open it if you don't have a Greek mobile phone number and you don't have a Greek ID tax, which takes another 3 months, 4 months to get, and you don't open your bank account because you don't have a Greek thing. So you can do a lot of things, but things don't work. So I think we should have something which helps a foreigner to come to invest. I mean, I cannot get and open a bank account if I don't have a Greek mobile phone. Okay, this is wrong, correct? So we need to do that, and we have the right environment, and we are doing excellent things. So let's take the opportunity. We have the money, we have the will, we have Greeks coming back, and COVID is the best thing that happened to this country in terms of people coming back. All of us have to learn how to work with technology. We improve technology. A lot of Greeks came back because of COVID. It's a unique opportunity. Let's make something bad as a great opportunity. That's all I have to say.
So, Dimitris, is this a unique opportunity?
Of course, this is a unique opportunity, but there is a lot of things to do. Actually, we are taking very seriously the comment about the need to hear more about what the business community has to say. I can say to you that as we speak, public administration and business world are two different species. But this is something that we are trying to change, and I think we are doing some progress on this.
You're doing a great job.
Okay, so thank you very much. We're on time.
Thank
done.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.